Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.
Hey, welcome into the Deuce and Mo podcast. Recording this late on a Thursday night after a busy night of Game 3s in the NBA playoffs. A lot of fun tonight. Some drama, a major comeback by Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
John Morant goes down. The Knicks-Pistons game was great, and the Clippers send a message. Hi, Mo.
Hi.
You're up late.
Do I look a little red?
Yeah, what's going on with your face?
Do you like that I'm trying to cover up my whole face with glasses and a hat?
You did the micro needling, didn't you? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, don't act like you know what it is. My postseason skincare. I did some microneedling and it's like super red and like blood and everything. I was like, oh.
Well, you know, it's playoff time, so you have to play through the pain.
I-
Right? And you're here right now
And I'm not
to
in pain.
break it all down.
Yeah. That's pretty much what it is.
And is that why you're wearing big glasses and a hat to cover up?
100%. And like, obviously we usually don't go live on these things, but I was thinking about it. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. Well, either way, it's not like I can make my face look any different if we go live or not. So let's just have fun.
Well, let's dive into it. Game 3, Knicks and Pistons. And Morgan, if I had my favorite first round series power rankings after tonight, Knicks Pistons has moved up to number 1 ahead of Denver Clippers.
That's fair.
This Pistons-Knicks series have been great, and tonight the Knicks get the job done in a tough environment in Detroit. They win 118-116, and I felt like the difference was early on. We were sitting here after Game 2 watching how the Knicks played, and I'm just like, what is this? They're playing slow. Cat is camping out in the corner. He's not even looking to get the ball and make a move and play with aggression. It's Jalen Brunson ISO ball. Well, tonight, at least from the start, was very different.
It was very different. They were playing with a lot of speed, a lot of pace, pushing the shit out of the basketball. But on top of that, pushing the basketball, and then how many times were you seeing them get into that early offense of Cat trailing, coming up to the top of the key, pop three, or making a move off of that, or doing something else. It was just such a different flow to the game. But also, I think Jalen Brunson did a good job of understanding and making the adjustment of, okay, I also got to get rid of the basketball quicker. I got to make sure I'm trusting these other guys, whether they're making their shots or not. We play better basketball when we play together.
I thought he was really strong in this game.
He was.
He ends up with 30 points, 9 of 20 shooting, 11 of 13 at the free throw line, 1 of 7 from 3. He had 9 assists, 7 rebounds. But yeah, I felt like it wasn't, he was making an impact on the game without just purely dominating and dribbling the hell out of the ball. He was getting off the ball. He was getting it moving. He draws so much attention. Like, the Pistons are going to be focused on him. And, you know, he's obviously such a gifted guy, a scorer that can draw contact. We know about the foul baiting, but he's a tough shot maker. But tonight, I didn't feel like he was forcing it. I felt like he was making the right play for the Knicks, and it led to everybody else cooking. Yeah. And that's the reality. This Knicks team is too offensively gifted to be walking the ball up and not moving the ball. And tonight, they did that.
They definitely did. So offensively, obviously, they were moving without the basketball. They were just looking so much better. OG Anunoby just actually, you know, making his shots, being a little bit more aggressive too. That was something else that we talked about. He needed to be aggressive, which means taking it to the rack, which means bodying through someone, doing whatever you need to do there. And then you think about someone like Josh Hart, who still finished with 11 rebounds, you know, wasn't the big scoring threat, and their bench wasn't even huge for them again. And that was something else that we saw in Game 1 with Campaign. And then in Game 2, we're like, okay, well, do you need other guys to step up? Well, you don't when you have your starting group. And this is kind of their identity all year long. Right.
The number that jumped out to me, Game 2, OG took 10 shots and had 10 points. He took 10 shots in the game. Cat in Game 2 had 11 shots, no shots in the fourth quarter, right? He finished with 10 points.
Yeah.
By halftime of Game 3 tonight, OG had 10 shots. for 18 points. Cat had 10 shots for 17 points. So, yeah, the level of aggression was there. And I think it was all because of the pace. You know, I think there are too many times teams look to hunt mismatches, right? In the half court. And it's like, hey, Brunson's going to try to target this player. Oh, he's looking for Schroeder, which is fine to do every once in a while. But sometimes the best way to hunt mismatches is just by playing with pace and getting into your shit fast, because then you get cross matches and you're just getting mismatches just because you're getting up the floor fast with the getting up the blah, 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 getting up the court fast with the pass. And then, like you mentioned, the trailing threes for Cat tonight, those are huge.
They were strong.
And he was a completely different player in this one.
He was 4 of 8 from downtown. And I thought some of the ones that he made early, like you said, trailing, they were just, I want to call them deflating, but it's like the Pistons still play hard. They still do whatever they need to do. But it was more like it was giving Cat the confidence that he needed, right? And it gave the rest of the Knicks team the confidence that they needed. Like, oh, okay, we don't have to rely on just our guy, Jalen Brunson. We can rely on others to get theirs too. And I thought Cat did a really good job being way more aggressive. But then on top of that too, you think about the assist numbers for the Knicks and just what they were doing last game compared to this game. They finished with 22 assists, but I thought the way that they were moving the ball around at first and just finally everyone was just making their shots, it was telling to what kind of game this was going to be for them.
Yeah, Brunson with 30. Bridges had 27 rebounds, 3 assists. Cat with 31. Anunoby with 22. It's weird though, because you watch a game like this and it's like, I do feel like this was the best I've seen from the Knicks. Just, I thought defensively they were awesome. We just spent so much time talking about what they did offensively, playing faster to start this game, but I thought it was what they were doing defensively too. OG Anunoby is just a freak out there. I thought they made some big time defensive plays, protecting the paint. Nothing was easy for the Pistons. But one thing I want to say before we get there is, we talk about how well they played defensively, how Cat was aggressive, got 30.
Yeah.
OG got his.
Okay.
Brunson did his thing.
But
they won by 2, and I don't think the Pistons played their best.
Yeah.
And so in some ways, I know you don't want to be losing home playoff games, but if you're the Pistons, you're like, all right, Cade was inefficient tonight. Tobias Harris was in foul trouble most of the night. He finished with 5 points, pretty much gave us nothing. You know, Malik Beasley hit a 3 late, and it was good to see him like finally get something going, but he was 2 of 10 from downtown. Last game, I think he was 1 of 9 from 3. If I'm a Pistons fan, I think I'm feeling okay. Like, my team is competing. They played better in the second half. They outscored the Knicks in the second half, and they had a chance to win this game.
Yeah, they were missing shots in the paint, obviously, because of the Knicks defense, mostly what it seemed like. But at the same time, I felt like, especially in the beginning, more toward the beginning in the first half of this game, they didn't feel like they were pedal to the metal. You know, the urgency wasn't necessarily there. And finally, when they fought back, not just verbally, I mean, the amount of times that we saw the chippiness out there and both these teams going at it, but when they really fought back with like the same type of physical play and coming at them the same way on the defensive end, I thought it just showed what type of team that they're going to be in this series. And it's kind of like you said, it just shows what type of team that they need to be in all 4 quarters against this Knicks team. So you still can feel good, but at the same time, you got to make sure that you are like matching up right from the start. And that's also making sure that you're not getting in that foul trouble right from the start, because you do see what it can do to the rhythm, to the rotation and everything like it did tonight or earlier today, especially with someone like Tobias Harris and what he was doing on Cat last game, and then what it felt like he wasn't doing the same things this game because he had to play it differently once he got in foul trouble.
And I think the Knicks were a big reason for that, right? Because instead of making it easy, which they did last game, which was like, all right, catch us in the corner, and like, okay, you're making life easy. That you're easy to defend that way. Well, they were moving Cat to different spots. They were getting him in the 2-man action. You know, he was taking he was getting the ball instead of in the corner. He's getting at the top of the 3-point line, putting the ball on the floor and attacking or hitting a three over Durant. Like, he was doing a whole bunch of things. And then you talk about the discipline from Tobias Harris. He picked up his third foul. It was like a cheapie coming out on campaign. It was just an unnecessary foul you don't make when you're in this situation early in the second quarter. I think that's when it happened. Yeah, 8:25, he picks up his third, and he's got to sit.
But going back to even what you were saying about Detroit feeling okay in this series, I mean, give some love to Dennis Schroeder and what he did off the bench. And we keep talking about Cat's threes and the momentum shifter. I mean, the same thing with Schroeder's threes and just getting that type of impact from him, especially offensively from him, was so nice to see. He finished with 18 points off the bench, but then later in the game, Beasley, obviously, throughout the game, not shooting the way that you wanted him to shoot. Later in the game, Schroeder got played off the floor because of what he wasn't capable of doing defensively. And then it was Beasley that had to come back out there. And so you just saw these different things happen, the highs and lows for the Pistons all game long, but you still got to feel good about what you got from the bench from that production.
And your point about Schroeder, it's tough because when he's matched up against Brunson, it's going to be a really difficult matchup for him. And I think he did some nice things picking him up in the full court. Remember, he forced that 8-second violation at one point. But come fourth quarter,
the 2-line drives.
Yeah, when it's fourth quarter, and that's Brunson's time. Like, that's when he cooks. And last game, we talked so much about him forcing the issue. Tonight, it was like, oh, it's closing time. This is when you love Jalen Brunson because you know he's confident enough to go get his. And the other guys have been so involved tonight. Cat's been getting it going, OG, Bridges, that you're not just completely focused on Jalen Brunson. And he made them pay. And he's just got the size advantage, the physicality to just get by Schroeder and then finish at the rim.
Yeah. So I say overall, I can see why this has moved up as your number one series?
Because it's been competitive and it's testy, dude. How many altercations did we see tonight? Hell, how about the closeout that Brunson had? Looked like Ric Flair raking the eyes of the shooter when he was on. That was on Tim Hardaway when Hardaway was absolutely on fire in that first half.
Yeah. Which was nice to see.
And then
too.
we got the "fuck you, Brunson" chants.
Oh, yep.
Dude,
fuck you, Brunson.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that.
No, it was great. I mean, I loved every second. But what's even crazier about it is when you see it like not affect someone, right? Like it doesn't even phase someone like him. But the chippiness in this series makes it more dramatic, makes it more fun. I had fun watching this game specifically today.
Yeah. And when you have, that's the one thing with Detroit, outside of Cade Cunningham, you're like, all right, who's going to be the other guy that's going to score on a consistent basis? So Schroeder being able to get 18 tonight was nice. I think the hope for the Pistons is that Beasley can get it going. I mean, he had some great looks from three. He's just not knocking them down. This guy was one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA. In fact, I think he hit the most threes this season in the league.
Yeah.
And so you don't expect him to have back-to-back games where he's like 2 of 10, 1 of 9. You're looking outside of that. Like you're not going to count Tim Hardaway to drop 24. And he went cold late in this game. He was red hot at the beginning. He ends up with 24. Durant had 16 and 8. And that was one area that I thought allowed the Pistons to get back in this game when they were down at the half by 15.
Yeah.
They clawed back in because that Cade Cunningham, Jalen Durant two-man game was working to perfection. And the Knicks really didn't have an answer for it because Cade commands such great attention. And they got to go a little bit in the second quarter too, but it's also Duran's ability to make plays in the short roll too.
Right. He doesn't need it just down low where he's not going to make mistakes in the short roll. Like he's going to make, mostly from what we've seen, the right decisions. And then to also be able to be that lob threat in so many different ways, especially when Cade does command so much attention. You see the doubles being thrown at him. And if other teammates aren't making their shots, like he's someone else that you can depend on. That one other person, Thompson, you
Thompson's
get
a stud,
to see the difference of when he is on the floor defensively for this Detroit team. It's like going back to what we were kind of saying about Schroeder being out there and just like why Brunson was attacking that. I mean, for obvious reasons, but what Thompson brings defensively, I guess I now go and look at the next game for this squad and I go, okay, the Knicks, what they do so great, they push the basketball, they played fast. How do you slow them down? How do you take them out of that rhythm, out of that type of pace? And you're going to need someone like Thompson out there the whole game. You're going to need him not to get in foul trouble.
Yeah. 18 minutes he played in this game tonight because, you know, they also leaned more into the offense at times, right? With Schroeder out there who played 30 minutes off the bench. Cunningham ended up playing 42. He had 24 points, 11 assists, 7 rebounds, 10 of 25 shooting. The paint wasn't kind to the Pistons tonight. They ended up scoring 36 points in the paint. But in the first half, okay, no, here we go. Yeah, first half, they were 4 of 17 in the paint.
Okay.
4 of 17. Second half, 14 of 21
Much
for
better.
28 points. But 4 of 17 in
It
the
was
paint
bad.
in the first half. So, like, there's, like, these numbers in the first half that you go, how'd they not just get blown out in this game? Well, they've got the ability to hit threes. They hit 16 of them in this game, and their best three-point shooter has not gotten it going yet. I don't know. I still think the Pistons could win this series, believe it or not. I think they have a toughness. They have a resiliency that not many teams who are faced, this is their first time together.
Yeah.
And they've had to face a lot of adversity with the foul trouble tonight, the Knicks flying up and down the floor, and they just keep fighting and getting back into it. I thought they played better in game one than the 21-0 run happened. I thought they played really strong in game two. And then tonight, they had their chances even at the end of the game.
Yeah. No,
Which got really weird, too.
It's what did?
The end of the game tonight.
Like what part of it?
The end of the game when you had the Brunson backcourt violation that wasn't. Then you had the situation at the very end when it's 117, 116. Brunson goes to the line to shoot 2, makes the first.
Oh, yes. Thank you for
and
reminding
then
me.
they tell him, you know, his dad is Rick Brunson's like, hey, miss the second one because there's 0.5 left. They don't have any timeouts. We'll just end the game like that. He misses it. No one touches the ball. And the scorer's table goes, game over. It's like, no, there's no game over. So what it did, it was brutal because what it did, the Pistons had imminent possession. They got the ball sideline out of bounds with 0.5 of a second to go.
Crazy.
And then you don't have any timeouts.
I know. Oh, and then what they did,
They turned the ball over.
well, they had Duran take the ball out of bounds and be the passer, and he just passed it out of bounds, tried getting it to Cade. It was over the top. It was awful. But something else that Kevin Harlan had said on the broadcast too, he had mentioned that the scores table is not Detroit's scores table. You know, the NBA goes to a mutual.
And independent is the word.
Thank you. I was like mutual. They go to, the independent people. And so it's not like Detroit Pistons normal scores table screwing this up for them. You know, it's just all the interesting little nuggets to that ending. Made it dramatic, made it weird, but the fact that they had one more opportunity and they ended up screwing it up, it sucks. But don't put yourself in that position in the first place.
And the whole backcourt call where it was on the inbound and it looked like it should have been like that Brunson maybe had possession of the ball or at least touched the ball, and then it went to the backcourt. Should have been a backcourt violation. Well, after the game, Zach Zarba talked to the official, said Rule 4, Section 6G, the front court, backcourt status is not obtained until a player with the ball has established a positive position in either half. In this instance, during the throw in the last 2 minutes of the fourth period and the last 2 minutes in any overtime period. So obviously, that is where we were at that point. Brunson and the trajectory of the pass were headed towards the backcourt. Brunson's momentum was taking him there when he touches the ball. Due to that momentum, he's not considered in a positive position at the time. That's why that play is legal.
And that is something that I think they really talked about and emphasized at broadcast meetings as well over the summer. And so I've seen it happen in this season, different game, whatever. And I remember thinking the same thing. And then going back to the rule, something they've been more consistent with.
So who do you think has the edge going forward? Or do you have a feel right now as we shift to game 4, Knicks are up? 2-1.
Well, I thought it was interesting that you said you're like, oh, the Pistons, they still
They
have
fight, man.
Yeah, and that's why I don't feel confident either way, but just so I'm not sitting on the fence, I guess I would lean toward the Knicks because of
The fire,
experience and also I think ultimately they are the better team. Like when you look at the roster and you look at experience and everything else, but at the end of the day, it's the playoffs and you never know what could happen.
All I know is it's been a lot of fun. Game 4 in Detroit will be a ton of fun. All right, Morgan, let's get to Denver, LA for a second.
Good.
Before we get to
The fun one.
OKC's major comeback. Clippers get game 3, 117-83 over the Denver Nuggets. The first game ever at the Intuit Dome. My goodness.
Game ever?
First playoff game ever at the Intuit Dome. You knew what I was trying to say.
I did.
117-83.
Boring.
It definitely got boring down the stretch, but this to me, what's not boring is the Clippers are just beyond legit.
Oh, they're so good.
I'm sucked back in with this team completely.
As you should be.
Well, because of their track record of injury, it's hard. The track record of how James Harden maybe performs in big games, but just seeing how this group has come together, what they did tonight.
It was
from the jump. First of all, Harden was disgusting.
Disgusting.
Absolutely unbelievable performance from him.
From his passing to his shot making ability to the way he
pick and roll game.
Oh my God. Just dominant.
He had 20 points, 9 assists, 6 rebounds in a 117-83 win over the Denver Nuggets. But it's what they do defensively. And it's the versatility that they have defensively. One, the fact that they have Ivica Zubac to battle Jokic. And it's not like, hey, that's all he does out there. No, the guy can score. He can rebound. He defends. He should be an all-NBA guy this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll probably make all-NBA third team. He should. And if he doesn't, whatever. He's still, to me, one of the more underrated players in the game because of what he can do out there. And I thought he made life more challenging on Jokic. Jokic still did his thing, had a triple-double, but that's just one element. And then you've got everyone else out there flying around. Then when you take out Zubac from the game, you go with this super small lineup with Ben Simmons at the 5.
Yeah.
He's flying around everywhere. Batum was
I was
awesome
gonna say,
tonight.
Chef Batum, you got to talk Batum when you're talking defense. This guy just does such a fantastic job of not only in help, but recovering, being able to reach over the top, get a block, use his long arms, use his length. You haven't even gotten to your favorite defender yet.
Chris Dunn, dude. I love Chris Dunn.
He is so fun out there. The way that he gets up and guys, the way that he makes second chance opportunities, make sure to get his hand on the ball. He's always hustling. He reminds me a lot of Josh Hart actually in that way, just always trying to find a way to make sure you're getting to the basketball.
Yep.
But he's a little bit longer. He obviously has different physical aspects about him, but ultimately it's that same type of energy and that same type of mentality that he brings on the defensive end.
You've got him, Derek Jones Jr., right? Batum, as I mentioned. They have the depth that is necessary, the versatility that's necessary, and then you think about offensively what you have with Harden, Kawhi, but then what Zubac has turned into as a scorer this year, and then Norm Powell, who's just a bucket. And he had a breakout game here against the Denver Nuggets, got to his spots again. He was able to create, knock down 3 of 8 from downtown, finished with 20 points in this game. But obviously the big difference maker here is the guy we talked about the last couple of games, and that's Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi didn't have the most efficient shooting game tonight. But
Not like last game.
But his impact was everywhere.
Uh-huh.
And the rebounding that you were just talking about with Chris Dunn, dude, Kawhi was crashing the glass tonight. The Clippers, it felt like they dominated. They ended up being plus 10. He ends up with 21 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists.
And what about it's like you said, what about the way that he is scoring? It's not obviously just in catch and shoot situation, in a 2-man game situation. It's not just moving without the basketball. I mean, it's putting the ball on the floor and being able to cross someone up between the legs, go to the rack, go get into the mid range. And he is so crafty and confident. And I think because he is so healthy right now, it shows out there. But it's wild when you have him as a weapon and he's not even have his best shooting night. And then you have different guys step up, like you had already mentioned, James Harden. And then you think about someone like Zubats, who just creates so many different opportunities and just knows how to get things done in the paint. And then someone like Powell had a good night tonight as well.
Yeah, Powell was awesome. And so you don't want to overreact off of one game, but it definitely has. I'm looking funny at the Nuggets right now. And look, they're a flawed team. You don't fire your coach like 3-4 games before the end of the season, along with your GM, if like everything's just great. And what happened in game 2, I don't think was great for them. And then you see what happened tonight, and they got slapped around. I mean, this was a complete and utter beat down after they had a solid start in the first quarter.
I was going to say, it was solid.
The way that the Clippers closed that quarter and didn't look back.
Yep.
And they don't have the depth. Like we just spent all this time talking about the depth that the Clippers have and the toughness. Defensively, they've got shooting. And then you look at the Nuggets at times and you're like, okay, I know what Jokic can do. I know what Murray's capable of. You know, even tonight, Aaron Gordon has like 11 points in the first few minutes of this game. Like, oh no, is this going to be like a 30-point night for Gordon? He's been banged up too. 15 points for him. But outside of that, you're like, who else is stepping up? Like there's no trust there. And in this game tonight, it seemed like, all right, they're going to shade so much over the Jokic. They're going to make him a passer. And Jokic had it going a bit in that first quarter.
You saw so many guys. It didn't matter if it was Christian Brown, whoever it was, just in that dunker spot on that flex cut, finding a way to be
attacking
open.
The gaps, right?
Yep.
And Jokic just trying to make the right play. And they got some easy looks out of that. But as the game adjusts and you have less shooting on the floor, and then Westbrook's in the game, what's shit look like? Well, it's easier to help. They're going to go ahead and concede that Westbrook 3. I know Westbrook, when he plays the Sacramento Kings, it seems like he hits like 5 threes
Correct.
every game.
Every game.
But he's not a good 3-point shooter. And
he'll have his moments.
Westbrook tonight shoots 5 threes in the first half of this game.
Knocks down 1.
He ends up only playing 9 minutes in this game. And I think you saw the weaknesses. Like they had lineups out there that, and I know Adelman's trying to tinker and try whatever works, but when you put a lineup out there that's got like DeAndre Jordan and Peyton Watson or maybe even Westbrook, there is no spacing whatsoever.
Yeah.
And so you become such an easier team to defend.
And you said this right away when we were watching the game with Jokic. You're like, he just needs to be more aggressive.
Yep.
And how many times throughout this entire season are we seeing Jokic win games by being the dominant scorer, by looking for his? It's not just having a good shooting night. It's by actually just looking for yours. And obviously, even when that double was coming over at times, it was like you were finding other ways to play some good basketball and find the open man and still play well against the Clippers defense. Then when the Clippers shied away from that and went back to just like, okay, wait, if we find a way to pack the paint a little bit more, make sure we can, not trust him from beyond the arc, being someone like Russell Westbrook, whatever it is, they did a much better job of just making those adjustments. And I mean, these adjustments we expect the Clippers to make, but the Nuggets never had an answer. They never made their adjustments once things started to fall apart. And then once things did start to fall apart, it wore on them, like on their body language as well.
Yeah. And we talk about what the Clippers are able to do against them defensively, but on the other end, Denver's defense just wasn't good, and they got picked apart. The Clippers kept things simple. They went into their pick and roll action. They got in the paint. They were able to score at the rim, or they kicked out and they knocked down threes. I know they're not known for their 3-point taking a ton of threes, but they also have very capable guys. Now tonight, it's a little funky when someone like Chris Dunn knocks down 2 in the first quarter, right? But like when Nick Batum's open, he can knock down threes. That's what he does. He ends up knocking down 4 of 6 in this game. Derek Jones Jr., he's improved in that area. 2 of 3 from downtown. Powell, 3 of 8. Kawhi, 3 of 6. Harden, 3 of 8. All of a sudden, you get 18 of 39 from downtown, and Denver was just 7 of 26.
And then just some of the comparable stats that you look at, the offensive rebounds for the Clippers, 15 for 20 second chance points. And you look at their bench points, 31. I know we've mentioned some of these as well, but Denver's 6 bench points. You're not getting those contributions. It's, again, something that we have talked about all season long with them as well when it comes to depth. But you also saw in game 1, Russell Westbrook step up and have some bigger moments, you know? Or was that game 2? Whatever it was.
Game one.
Thank you. It was game 1. But my point to that being is like, it's the playoffs. You still have to have a few moments, and you're going 1 for 5 and playing 9 minutes, you know, not making that impact. It just can't happen at this time of the year.
I've noted a couple of things too. Why'd you look at me like that?
Because your voice.
What did I do?
It sounded like it was gonna like crack a little. I thought that maybe that's
It's
why
late,
you're
man. It's late. Batum's defense, just excellent. On and off ball. I mean, he's having to defend Gordon. There's one play where he's shading over to help on Jokic. Jokic sees a lob opportunity to Porter. He peels off and breaks up the lob. Batum's basketball IQ is through the roof. And for a guy his age to just be out there competing at that level, dude, it was a lot of fun to just watch him tonight. And they have that, you know, even Chris Dunn, he's 31 years old, but he flies around like he's 27. Like, he is just intense out there. This Clippers team looks beyond dangerous. And I don't know if you would have said in January, hey, dude, like Kawhi could come back and they might be a legit contender, I think most people would laugh at you. But when you have this type of team and you have Kawhi back in the fold, who's being able to be healthy, contribute, and play big minutes, it's a game changer in the West. It's an absolute game changer. And it's setting up, like, if they advance and beat this Nuggets team, you get Clippers OKC.
Well, and if you see OKC play the way they did tonight, then you're going, wow, this could be a really fun series. That's what I'm hoping to see now.
This OKC Memphis game 3, man, I feel for Memphis.
So bad. I feel so bad for all the fans that were there tonight.
And we had, I was focused on Clippers Nuggets at first, and I'm following along. I'm like, oh my God, what a beatdown. So you have to go double box on YouTube TV going, what is happening right now? You know, Scottie Pippen Jr., what a story he has been this year for the Memphis Grizzlies. Even going back to last year when he got the opportunity when so many guys were out, guy defends his ass off, but now he's knocking down threes. He was awesome in the first half, and they are just destroying Oklahoma City, just wiping the floor with them. But everything shifted once Ja Morant took that hard fall. Another player taking a hard fall. The first being Jimmy Butler. We don't know about his status going forward. It sounds like he may be questionable for game 3. But John Morant falls to the ground. It looks bad. He gets helped off. Eventually takes off his jersey, walks to the locker room. He does not return. And OKC never looked back.
No.
They got down by 29 points in this game. They were down 26 points at the half. And they come back and win game 3 in Memphis, 114 to 108.
And it wasn't easy. I mean, the way that they were coming back, it seemed like it was a 10-point game, a 6-point game. Oh, jump back up to a 12-point game for like a while. Grizzlies on top. It wasn't there until that fourth quarter, really, that it felt like everything was shifting. Not even necessarily momentum, because I felt like the Grizzlies were doing such a good job of fighting back. But then once you saw the frustrations come through late in game, whether it was Jaren Jackson Jr. trying to just go through people and Alex Caruso dig at the basketball and it go away, or it was Zach Edey in a jump ball situation and with Lou Dort and just throwing his face to the ground, they call foul, they go the other way. Like, these mistakes kept happening, but how do you not make these mistakes? How do you not get frustrated when you have someone like effing Alex Caruso all up in your grill, just making life so difficult for you? He makes defense so enjoyable to watch.
he's also another guy that missed chunks of the season for Oklahoma City. Then he was like on a lot of load management throughout the year. And then tonight, in a crucial situation on the road, trying to claw back into a game, he was a defensive menace. I mean, you go back and watch the highlights of this game, and so many times when you watch these shows, they're showing the made buckets. Like, oh my God, what a shot! This guy, you could put out an entire highlight reel of just his defensive plays out there, deflections,
so fun,
stripping,
oh my God,
steals. I can't wait to see what the deflections were after this game because he was absolutely relentless and really, I thought, changed the game.
He did. I mean. Again, you can mention every fundamental thing that he does on the defensive end, but what it led to at times in the fast break. And even when it felt like some people were missing their shots in the fast break, he was still there to even clean that up late in the game. I think it was SGA going up with a little bunny, missed it. Alex Caruso there to clean it up after doing something tremendous on the defensive end. And what that can do for your team is obviously light a fire, get things going. What that can do to another team that just lost a 30-point lead or whatever the hell it was. What was the biggest? 29 point lead. It's more deflating than ever. And it feels like, okay, they really do have control of this one. That is what Alex Caruso felt like he commanded there in the fourth quarter.
In the first half, they were down 77-51. In the second half, Oklahoma City outscored Memphis 63-31. They just chipped away. Chip. Memphis was 9 for 36 in the second half, 3 of 20 from downtown. In the second half, they had 13 turnovers that turned into 19 points for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And, I know Jagat went down, and obviously that's going to shift the momentum a little bit.
Yeah.
No shit. But still to come back from being down 29, the biggest lead, they tie at 99. Memphis answered with a 6-0 run. You're like, oh my God, are they going to claw all the way back and not be able to actually win this game? And then it seemed like 2 minutes later, this game was tied.
Yep.
And OKC made big play after big play defensively. This group is so dialed in right now that they could have a dog shit first half where nothing's going right.
There's
something that they're not used to at all, which is being down. Like they're used to being the team on the other end of that, being up by 30 at the half. Hell, look at what they did in the first 2 games of the series. So for them to just get their shit together and just keep playing. And everyone talks about this with this team. It doesn't matter if they're up 30, down 30. They have the same mentality. They play the same way, and they just chipped away.
Before we came in here, I heard Alex Caruso was on the headset with, I think it was Charles or whoever. And, I didn't even hear the question, but I heard Caruso talking about coach was never just going to be like, okay, we can skip this one and move on to the next just because they were down. That was never going to be our mentality. It was going to be find a way. How can we find a way to win? That's always been our mentality. And you can just see that in them. And you talk about them being on the other end. It's something we have seen all season long, though, from them, Deuce, is that they can go into a fourth quarter down 15, down whatever it is. They always seem to find a way. Well, mostly, obviously, if you look at their win-loss record, but they always find a way to fight back, chip away, and that comes from everyone because then you go to the offensive end and you think about someone like Chet Holmgren hitting those huge threes in this one to seriously get things going on that end of the floor as well.
Yeah, Chet had 1 point at halftime. He finished with 24 points, 8 rebounds. He knocked down 5 of 10 from 3. Some massive threes that were created by getting in the paint, rotating the ball around, and getting great looks. And he knocked them in. And so that was massive for Oklahoma City. Jalen Williams also finished with 26 points. SGA, not efficient, really hasn't been efficient in this series, had 31. But yeah, Caruso, 10 points. He played 23 minutes, 10 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals. It's insane.
It really is. There's nothing else to really say about this team and what we think is going to happen in this series, because I think we all feel and know the answer.
Oklahoma City ended the series tonight. I mean, we know this. It was going to be quick anyway, but Ja, who knows with Ja? You hope it's nothing serious, but the reality is going to miss a game.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to be without him. And I know they played without him. They're used to it. They compete. But this is just a different level. This is not a regular season game without John Morant. Okay. This is, you're playing Oklahoma City, who wants to rest and get ready to take on either Denver or the Clippers in what could be a 6 or 7 game series potentially. And that team, whoever comes out of that series has to go deal with a well-rested Oklahoma City team.
Yep.
That's going to be a massive
And that's
challenge.
why it's about getting things done. And that's why, I mean, even in this game, I barely wanted to turn it back on after the score was what it was. Yeah. And then when you did start to see the run, you can't look away, because you know what this team is capable, and you know what this team would be capable even in the next series as well. But it's like you said, just making sure you get things done in the next game so you can end up resting. For the Grizzlies, like you said, it's going to be tough without Ja. Congratulations to Scottie Pippen Jr., everything that he's been able to do. Desmond Bane, obviously, you could always use a little bit more from him in a game that he has 10 points.
2 of 11 from 3 for Desmond Bane.
Yeah, it's not good. But ultimately, I think the people that I feel bad for the most, the fans, the silence in that arena when OKC took the lead. I was just like, I feel like I've been there. Not even in a playoff series or a playoff game, but I've been there, and it hurts.
You also think about where they were like 2-3 years ago.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying? Like when they were looked at as, this is going to be like the next team. How long is this going to last for them? You know, they were doing a lot of talking, a lot of chirping, and it's just falling apart for them. And now I think they're faced with the reality of, okay, where do we go from here?
Yeah.
You know, Taylor Jenkins is out. What's Ja's future? What do you do with this team? Like, how do you tweak this when this is you're getting the test? This is the best. This is the top of the top, Oklahoma City, and this is how you stack up against them.
It's not pretty.
No, it's not. And it's not going to be pretty for a lot of teams in the West, because this Oklahoma City team is going to be legit for a long time.
I know people were kind of weirded out tonight too, because this game was on TNT, and obviously Clippers Nuggets was on NBA TV.
Yeah.
It turned out nice.
I mean, it's just not ideal. I think playoff games should be played in exclusive windows, because I don't want to have to choose between these 2 games. Most of us are basketball sickos, and we want to watch all the games. So I don't want to have to deal with like, OKC's down. I don't want to watch. You know, I don't want to be scoreboard watching. I want to be locked into one game and be able to enjoy that.
Yeah.
You know, and I still did enjoy doing the double box on YouTube TV, but even that, you're not really focused on everything, right?
No, but it allowed it when a game, if it was 2 really good games, I would have been pissed off.
Yeah.
But because Clippers Nuggets took a turn, and then I was like, all right, you know, what more can I actually break down or see from this game? It was nice to see the comeback from OKC, but I get what you're saying.
So OKC now up 3-0. New York took a 2-1 lead, and the Clippers are up 2-1. I feel like I'm slightly overreacting, potentially,
To what?
to the Clippers win tonight.
I don't think you are. I feel that. I think now.
I think it's going to take Jokic being like generational, takeover, where we're going to look back and go, oh my God, legendary. I just don't think they've got the horses.
And we've seen the horses. Funny. We've seen it before from Jokic, and we go, oh my God, we thought they were dead. And then he like rallies everyone, makes everyone better. We've seen it. Aaron Gordon goes off. Like, yeah. It can totally happen, but I am so with you with like trusting my eyeballs and seeing what we are seeing right now with the Clippers on the defensive end, on the offensive end, when their best player isn't even having the most efficient night after having the most efficient night. You know, it's It's a really good all around team. And I think they're playing their best basketball in this later part of the year than we've seen, than we've seen from so many teams in this league.
Gordon's got the calf issue. Porter's got a shoulder issue.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the bench, you're like, huh?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe this series is going to be quicker than we think. Maybe it ends in like 5 games, honestly.
And if it does, I want it as exciting as the first 2. Can we bring it back to that?
Yeah, they're going to have to rally and figure it out.
Uh-huh.
Because I think the Clippers are playing with look at from their perspective. Game 1 probably should have won that game.
Yeah.
They should have won that game. Turnover issues.
Didn't you say Zach Lowe said something about the Nuggets locker room?
Yeah, he had said on his podcast that he had heard that the game 2 loss was not good in the Nuggets locker room after the game, whatever that means.
I mean, whatever that means, but I guess my point is, after a deflating loss like this too, like, and everything that happened with losing a coach so late in the year, blah, blah, whatever. It's like, how do you rally back? Like, I don't know that answer, but it's going to take the best player on the team to do so much more. And he already does a lot.
It's almost like this was kind of a flawed roster, and maybe it wasn't all about the coach.
Funny how that works.
That's today's NBA, though. It's like the easiest thing to do. It's like, yeah, it's a coach. We'll just, who cares?
Someone's got to take the blame. Coaches, pay him off.
Pay him off. We'll get a new one. Everyone wants a coach. It's outrageous.
It really is.
Final thoughts on this one. Well, tomorrow we get a couple of games. We have Boston, Orlando. Then Indiana, Milwaukee gets the NBA TV treatment. Lakers take on Minnesota at the Target Center in the nightcap. Boston, they win without Tatum the other day. Orlando doesn't feel like they have enough. They don't have enough shooting. Indiana's been beyond impressive.
Mm-hmm.
The Pacers I feel like they've grown up. The Bucks are obviously in a weird state with like Dame coming back from injury. I don't think Giannis has enough help. We may be seeing the end of Giannis in Milwaukee, but that group is so connected in Indiana. They play their style. Tyrese, after a slow start to the season where people are like, I don't know if he's got it anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe it was so fluky because some of the stuff was like kind of jarring his first few months. The last couple of months, he has settled in and played great basketball. I know the Athletic thing came out the other day, and it's like NBA players voted him as the most overrated player in the NBA. 73 players voted in this, and he got like 14% of the vote. So how many players? I'm not even doing the math, but are we really calling this guy overrated? Look, I don't think Tyrese Halliburton is necessarily... He may not be a superstar that I think the NBA was pushing during that first in-season tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I think they hoped like, oh, he's going to be that. But then we revert too far the other way. The guy plays with joy. He's got shooting and playmaking, and this team kind of goes with him. And they play his style of ball. It's not just him. I think the Siakam deal helped in a big way. And then Andrew Nembhard is an absolute dog.
He sure is. Yeah. I mean, I'm with you on all the Tyrese stuff. I mean, you just pretty much. No, it's okay. You took that one away, but yeah.
I was cooking like Brunson in game 2.
Totally cooking.
Just
and then the last game of tomorrow, Lakers, Wolves. And with that one, I'm excited. I mean, you have big names. You saw some big adjustments in game 2 for the Lakers specifically. What adjustments are the Wolves going to make now? What type of game can Ant have? You saw the Lakers defense locked in, doing some things that
they did, but I mean, the Wolves got back in. The Wolves played a lot better down the stretch to make that a game.
They did.
And I think there are things that they could take away and go, you know what? Naz Reid is not going to have that night again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He's not going to miss a ton of threes. He's not going to be in foul trouble. DiVincenzo in foul trouble. There's just a lot of weird shit that happened in the game. And I think they were able to battle back in it, 2 games in a row, they held the Lakers under 100 points.
Yep.
95 points in game 1, 94 points in game 2. I think Minnesota's got the edge, and they're playing at home.
God, you're saying that so confidently.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the Lakers' approach was so much better in game 2. I think
I agree.
we can acknowledge that, but they also, like, that was not an easy game. That was not an easy game, and Minnesota played a lot better. I feel like the old version of the Wolves, they would have just rolled over and lost that game by like 25 points. But they fought, almost had a chance to come back and win that game. I think the slow start just killed them. And the Lakers' approach was great, no doubt about it. But Minnesota played a lot better in the second half.
So excited for that one.
I'm really excited. I love that series.
I agree.
You're right. The star power with Ant and Luka and LeBron. It's just fun. It's fun. And I thought Randall had a really good game last game. I think sometimes we look at Randall and go, oh my God, what are the decisions he's making out there? But I thought he was really good in game 2.
He was just being aggressive from the start. And when no one else was scoring for their squad, you could depend on him to get you a bucket. And so he's going to have that same type of game while Ant finds his aggressive rhythm as well.
Yeah, Ant said after the game that it was tough for him to read, like, what kind of defenses were they playing? Because they were throwing in zone every once in a while. And a lot of teams are doing this now where they'll start in man and then go to zone in the same possession.
In the same possession.
Yeah,
like, that's
just
really difficult.
Really, teams are getting a lot better at disguising this shit. And
helping, talking.
Mark Dagnall actually deserves a lot of credit because he's done that a lot with Oklahoma City this year. Now other teams are doing it. You know, Miami was doing much more zone last year too. But yeah, dude, the game's at a great level right now. I've enjoyed these playoffs. Obviously, I would have probably enjoyed it more if the Kings were, well, I don't know. If the Kings were in it this year, probably wouldn't have been very fun because we get smacked by OKC every
and
night.
Then feeling this tonight, if you're a Memphis fan, I can't get over that. Like, that feeling sucks. Like, even if you don't think you're gonna win the series, but you're like, we got this fucking game, and then you don't. And then you don't. Again, a 29-point lead.
Yeah, because
in this
think about it
league.
from a fan base perspective. If you win that game tonight, like let's say they just controlled the game and won by 30, Memphis, it's 2-1, and in your head you're going, well, maybe we could tie this series.
And you're not going to.
And
I don't mean to say it so confidently. Like, anything can happen, but it's like, it's not just track record of what OKC has done this season. It's like, they're the real deal when you just watch them each and every night.
Yeah.
Final thought. This shit's fun.
Playoffs have been a lot of fun.
Hell yeah.
I'm enjoying it. I mean, not all the series have been great, but I think there's high level basketball seemingly every night. So enjoy it like we are, you basketball sickos. Of course, our postseason coverage presented by our friends over at Sentivo Vineyards and Winery. Go order your own wine there. They're local. They're awesome. What are you waiting for, Morgan?
Ooh, go to sentivovineyards.com. Order your wine for the postseason today.
Let us know how you're feeling about the playoffs in the comments after the show. Appreciate you people in the live chat hanging out with us a little bit tonight on this, what's it called? A spontaneous live stream? We were not planning to go live.
No, we've just been doing clips, but it was like, there's so many games going on tonight. We're just like, let's just go live and talk about it instead. So thanks for joining.
Yeah, so make sure to hit the thumbs up on the way out. We love you guys, but we gots to go.
You all have a wonderful rest of your night. See ya.
Deuce and Mo.